Hi, this is Chad with Winning Tennis. Today I want to make a video that's a little different than my usual videos. I want to look at one part of the forehand stroke, and that is the power position. Now typically when I make a review video of a stroke, we look at the whole stroke. But today I just want to isolate the power position. Now I see a lot of players going through the ready position into the power position in the wrong way. So what we want to do is we want to look at some of the top pros like Roger Federer, see what they do, and then we want to try to emulate or copy what they do. Now, this is going to be part one of a 2 or 3 part series where we look at the forehand so we can kind of do what the pros are doing out there so we can get those kind of results. So let's jump into it and take a look and see what Roger Federer is doing.
All right, so what we're going to do here is look at Roger Federer's forehand in super slow motion once, and then I'm going to demonstrate what he does and break it down. So let's begin. See, Roger starts to transfer his weight onto his right foot. He starts to bring the racket back. Notice that he has the Eastern forehand grip. He has his left hand on the throat of the racket, and he's placing his weight onto his right leg. His racket is, if you take a look, right about his head. He has his left hand is going to be coming across. We could tell that his weight is on the right foot because he has brought his left heel off the ground. So that's about 90% of his weight is on that right leg. All right, so this is the power position right here. Open stance, weight on the right leg, shoulders turned, head looking straight ahead, left hand out straight across, and notice that his racket is a little bit pointing forward here, which I'm going to demonstrate shortly. If you don't understand that, there's a little bit of separation between the elbow and the body. This is the ideal power position for the forehand. All right, so now let's get into it, and I'll show you exactly what Roger Federer is doing.
Okay, so if we want to hit our forehand like Roger Federer or the top pros, we need to make sure that we have our hand in the Eastern forehand or semi-Western grip. And our left hand, this is assuming that we're righties, will be on the throat of the racket. Okay, so Roger is set up in his in his ready position right here. And what he does is he's going to pivot. He's going to turn that right foot out and pivot onto it, putting his weight there. That's going to be kind of like his rear foot where he puts his power and he will transfer it forward. The first thing that we would do is transfer our weight onto the right foot, pivot, and then he starts by turning his shoulders, making a unit turn, and pushing that racket to the side of his body, on his right side. Key right here is to have this elbow up. We don't want to be turning like this. We want to have that elbow up. Now, as we turn, we're going to have to use some flexibility in our neck to look over our shoulder. Okay, because sometimes if you're not used to playing tennis, and you turn like this, it's kind of difficult to look over sometimes. But I've been playing for years. I've gotten used to it. Okay, so we're going to have the racket over here on this side, the right of the body. We still have our left hand on the throat of the racket. I've made my unit turn. I have my my right elbow up. And then once I go all the way back here, I'm going to stop. Okay? One more time. From the ready position, pivot onto the right foot, turn, left elbow up, almost like you're going to elbow somebody. And we go until we feel that stretch right here. So now that there's separation between my shoulders and hips, that creates torque. A key for this is we want to make sure, as if I'm hitting this way, and I do my rotation, make sure that the racket is not going. I see a lot of players bring the racket back like this or like this. We want to make sure that it has this forward angle. You can see that with the pros. They have this forward angle right here. And that allows them to get a little more torque on their shots. Okay, so that's another key. So let's go through that one more time. We're going to be in our our ready position. We're going to make our unit turn by putting our weight onto our right foot, getting our our right elbow up. And then once we go all the way here, notice he puts his left hand out. Now, maybe in the 80s you had to see people with their arm out here, and you might see players now that put their arm straight out in front of them. The problem with that is if you do this, you're losing power because you don't get the same torque. Notice my shoulders are more turned right now, and now they're less turned. So we want to make sure that that left arm is facing out to our right as righties. Okay, so this would be the power position right here. That's all we have to work on right now, is keep getting into that position. It seems very simple, but if you record yourself playing on video or you see other people playing, you'll see people doing all kinds of things that don't look anything like this. And it's really not that difficult once you learn. I would suggest you practice at home, or you can go to a tennis court, practice over and over, preferably on video. Okay, so you would be set up in the ready position, and we're going to pivot our weight. We're going to get that racket all the way back up here, elbow up. Okay, now the footwork is primarily an open stance. However, if you have a short ball or a ball you have to move up to, then you're going to be more in a neutral stance, or maybe even a semi-closed stance. Okay? But typically we're going to be in an open stance. I like to have my feet about a 45-degree angle, maybe a little less on the feet, so they're not completely straight. I like to have the left foot a little bit ahead. And once I get here, I extend that arm out, and I'm now in my power position, ready to go through the stroke. Okay, so keep practicing that over and over until you get it perfectly, and we'll go on to the next part of it in the second part of this series. So that's it. You can see from the video how to get into the power position from the ready position. You can see how the top pros do it. There's not much deviation. We want to copy those pros. We want to get into that power position. I suggest practicing at home. I suggest practicing without the ball being hit to you, so that way you can work through it very slowly. And keep doing it until it becomes natural, and then we can get on the court or even get on the wall or in front of the ball machine and start actually practicing that. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to watch the other parts. Thank you.